Belarus has freed more than 120 political prisoners in a major thaw in relations with the United States. The releases came in return for Washington lifting sanctions on potash, a key source of revenue for Belarus.
Applause as human rights activist Ales Bialiatski arrives at the US Embassy in the Lithuanian capital Vilnius. He's greeted by opposition leader in exile Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya. Bialiatski was jailed in 2021. The following year, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his decades of campaigning on behalf of political prisoners in Belarus. Bialiatski looks overwhelmed with all the attention he's receiving, as well as his new surroundings. The 63-year-old tells reporters only a day ago he was sleeping on a prison bunk in a cell with nearly 40 other people.
I am really happy to be free. I understand that it took a lot of effort to secure our release. And we are free thanks to the efforts of many thousands of people. First and foremost, American diplomats and American officials who worked so hard to get us out.
Bialiatski is just one of more than 120 prisoners released in exchange for a lifting of US sanctions on Belarusian potash, a crucial ingredient in fertilizers. The deal follows talks in Minsk between Alexander Lukashenko and the US Special Envoy for Belarus, part of a growing rapprochement between Washington and the autocratic leader, who has ruled Belarus with an iron fist for more than 3 decades. His 2020 election win is not recognised by the EU.
President Lukashenko, who should get a tremendous amount of credit for this, I think that he is moving. He wants a more normalized relationship with the United States and the West. So we're moving in that direction.
The largest group of pardoned political prisoners, some 114, were freed in an undisclosed location in Ukraine. They say now is not the time to ease pressure on Minsk and call on the US and EU to maintain sanctions on Belarus for meaningful change to happen.
Joining us from Riga is our correspondent Sergei Satanovsky. DW reports now from Latvia since Russian authorities banned us from Russia. Sergei, why do you think Lukashenko has struck this deal now?
Well, for Lukashenko, political prisoners have been a bargaining chip in his relations with the West for decades, and for many years now he has been, unfortunately, of course, proven right in believing that once political prisoners leave the country, they're forced to leave the country, they stop being at least a significant threat to his regime. For example, last summer he released Sergei Tsikhanouskaya, once a highly popular opposition leader in Belarus, and Lukashenko's regime did not grow any weaker as a result. What he did get in return probably seems more important to him, to Lukashenko. It was the lifting of sanctions on Belarus Kali, which is a key company for Belarusian export and one of the biggest potash exports producers, as you said. But still, it's unclear whether this move was important to the United States itself, or maybe it was another American concession to Russia in the US-Russia talks that have been going on for months now.
As you mentioned, the US instrumental in getting Lukashenko on board. What about politically? What could these improved relations mean for him?
Well, for Lukashenko personally, this once again highlights the ability to balance between Russia and the West, at least from what we can see. He conducted these talks without any Russian mediation. He also sent a message to his own public that influential forces in the West are willing to treat him as the president of his country. Here, at least in Europe, European Union leaders do not regard him as legitimately elected president and tend to describe him rather as a as the ruler of Belarus. And finally, as I said, for Lukashenko, at least personally, this reinforces the belief that he is doing everything right by imprisoning his opponents, because in the end, their release leads to sanctions being lifted.
Okay. DW Sergei Satanovsky in Riga, thank you very much.